For newcomers, the world of rally can often seem a bit frightening, as first attempts on racing this sport virtually can often end up looking like this.
Quite the shock, wasn't it?
But no need to worry, it doesn't have to stay like that. That's what we're here for. Here are the 7 beginner mistakes you need to fix for WRC Generations. And with that, welcome back to Overtake. In the past years, rally games have had their fair share of community love, and rightfully so. Even if the start may look tough, you would be surprised to hear that many of the things keeping you from putting together a sensible time on the stage are small fixes that require close to no knowledge of how rally actually works. If you do want to acquire this knowledge, however, hitting the like button, subscribing, and tapping the bell may be the best shot you have in doing so. Because with joining this community, you get access to some of the finest racing content on Earth. But back to WRC Generations. The first mistake beginners often make is something that won't come natural to many newer drivers. When players start with a racing game, they often focus on their car more than the road ahead. In less steer-heavy games, where sectors take longer to pass, that is less of a problem. But in rally, you will be royally shafted if you do that. You see, the hectic nature of games like WRC Generations make it easy to only focus on how the car is going at any moment in time. But more importantly, you should look ahead to cover for possible dangers coming up. Tree lines are very useful, for example, especially when it comes to jumps. It can give you an idea on where the road is heading, even if you are unable to look over a crest. This is so important because it can both be race-ending or time-consuming to misjudge the road ahead. Be way too fast and end up like our car in the intro. Be too slow and you slouch around a corner. Having reference points such as trees or barriers that can be visible from afar will most likely make your life much easier in tight situations with a lack of overview. Of course, there's another thing that helps you with obstacles ahead. For our second mistake, we focus on the pace notes. You know, the thing your co-driver always tells you, but you ignore half of the time. And herein lies the problem. Less practiced players will likely just notice these calls without processing them, even if they're essential to the continuation of the stage. No matter if the calls mention narrows, tightens, or bump, you will need to at least somewhat listen in order to get through everything smoothly. If that all still sounds a little foreign to you, maybe you want to see an explanation video. Go ahead and tell us down in the comments below so we know what to do next. Not always will your ignorance result in a crash, but even just knowing how to exit your current corner can be massively important. A good way to train your hand-eye pace notes coordination is to adjust the delay in your co-driver. Besides, of course, choosing your native language, you can also adjust your partner to give you calls slightly later. This way, it is not always the most hectic point of the rally where you get instructions thrown at your face. Our third beginner mistake revolves around a function called camera shakes. While we all want immersiveness and racing that feels exciting, it doesn't always benefit the driver. Camera shakes are there to both make the driving in WRC Generations more action-packed and increase the intensity in some situations. But it takes away a lot of steadiness needed, for example, to focus on the reference points we pointed out in our first tip. Not only that, but sometimes camera shakes can even mess with your other camera settings. It may take a little long for the camera to adjust again, and it makes it really clunky to drive. To deactivate it, you have to enter the gameplay section of the options and go to cameras. There, the ominous setting hides. We would advise you to turn off camera shakes completely. This way, you guarantee that your rally experience does not turn into a 2010 dubstep music video. For our fourth beginner mistake, we take a look at drifting. You know, that thing cool kids do where they barrel around a corner sideways. Takes a lot of skill, admittedly, but doesn't always increase your speed. If you look at some of the videos online, you may have the feeling like the handbrake is the most important tool in your rally arsenal. And it is crucial to have one. With the amount of speed some passages have, you won't get your car to slow down quick enough otherwise. But especially when it's not necessary, drifting is seen as more of a detriment than an addition. Putting your car sideways where it's unnecessary will cost you lots of time and set back your stage time as well. Just like with a lot of things, there is no clear right or wrong. Very good drivers can easily be super fast whilst showing off as well. But since this video is tailored towards beginners, that is not really relevant. If you want to consistently improve your lap times and get to know the car and tracks, there is no way around being as clean as possible. Driving as clean as possible is also part of our number 5. If you have sworn off the drifting culture for the start, then you are already one step closer to being fast. However, hitting that Walter Röhrl speed is not always the thing that matters. Many newcomers make the mistake of being in push mode for the entirety of a stage. If you only know pedal to the metal, you will have a tough time in WRC Generations as well as in other rally titles. For beginners, taking a measured approach can work wonders. Don't push your luck, and if necessary, go only at 90% of a possible 100. Reason for that is a combination of all the previous tips combined. Rally driving in WRC Generations is difficult and requires a lot of things to go right simultaneously. The learning process is much harder if you try to be a speed demon as well. If you go all out always, you risk way more crashes or damage to your car, which in turn slows you down for the rest of the time. So do yourself a favor and keep it cool. If you already have experience in racing games, our 6th beginner tip may come as a bit of a surprise. In other tutorials, you may have heard that turning off driving assists will cause you to get a better feeling for the car and simulates more of the real-life experience as well. However, you may not know it, but real rally cars use ABS. It is actually really important as well. So why would you take away this essential of the real-life sport in the virtual world? We all have heard the arguments for turning off ABS. It takes longer to slow down the vehicle and decreases speed. However, as we know, speed is not everything in rally. Plus, ABS actually prevents something that can really ruin your mood in WRC Generations: lockups. We suggest you keep ABS on for good. Locking up into a tight corner whilst trying to keep the car steady and safe would definitely cause issues. Besides, you can actually emulate the modern sport with it, and it makes driving a lot easier. For our final mistake, we will take a quick look at setups. WRC Generations has taken a lot of options from its predecessor. However, as the real WRC enters into a hybrid era, so does the game. With it comes the so-called engine mapping, which configures how much energy the battery is contributing to the total speed. A great piece of technology which is sometimes just not needed as much as you think. We suggest to adapt the engine mapping per stage. Short stages with intervals that are slim between corners offer a full battery almost all the time. What sounds like a great thing to have actually causes issues when exiting a corner. Wheel spin is the magic word here. A powerful engine mapping can cause slides and considerable time loss by destabilizing a car on corner exit. The best solution therefore is to cut down on the engine mapping on smaller maps and increase it when taking it to long and open stages. This may come down to how you can handle cars with a lot of power, but for beginners, this is usually the way to go. And that's it for our 7 tips. Is there anything you want to add? If so, why don't you leave a comment so that we can keep an eye out for your wishes and considerations. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Until then, why don't you go ahead and take a look at our latest review of WRC Generations from Michel. See you soon, and cheerio!